invocation by Commissioner Tony Haas, followed by the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We ask that your guide and protection is over our families and friends and all of our firefighters. Let your favor follow them in all they do. Protect them with your precious blood, Lord Jesus. Let our bond with you be stronger than ever before. Heal us all in any pain and sickness. Let our endeavors be victorious. Please grant our heart's desires and let us never part from you, God.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Roll call, Mr. Gargan.
Commissioner Hess?
Here.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Here.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Here. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second motion.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes, we're going to go to section 2, consideration of minutes. We have several minutes from May 21st all the way through July 29th. Commissioners, we have had this, the opportunity to read them. I wonder if you would consider this as a consent agenda to approve the battery of all these minutes.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve them under consent agenda for May 21st, May 28th, June 4th, June 18th, July 2nd, July 17th, and July 29th, 2024.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes. Reading of correspondence, Commissioner Committee reports. Commissioners, we have had a couple of weeks. I know they have been extremely busy. Commissioner Luis Lopez, would you like to go first?
Thank you, Chairman. On the 18th, Front Range Passenger Rail held another workshop. A lot of discussion is going on right now with how we can move forward with the funding mechanisms and train operators and station identification plan and the corridor to identify from Fort Collins to Pueblo route. We're still now in a kind of holding pattern to see how we're going to move forward with that. I did introduce to the Finance Committee and also to the entire board of a share-back program possibly for our communities that will hopefully be engaging with a ballot measure, but will have no benefit until 10, 12 years down the line, which would include South of Denver, El Paso, Pueblo, Huerfano, Los Animas counties, and those ideas were well received. So, some ideas that were thrown around, introduced were possibly local banking for the investment that is being collected in sales tax, so that can be lent out to our local community, or also a grant program of the station's possible procurement and construction phases of those. So we just don't know quite what it's going to look like, but those ideas were well received, and I think those communities will be accepting of that. And we receive some benefit when we pay a tax. It's really disheartening to have a taxation without representation, and this is an opportunity to alleviate that and give back to the communities that won't be receiving the service until later down the line. No pun intended. So we continue on Front Range Rail, moving forward with those projects and figuring out how the Finance Committee is going to envelop a possible campaign funding mechanism, and we're looking into those ideas as well. We really hate to be dependent on one entity, so this way is going to be more of a self-alleviating problem, funding our own ballot measures that are relying on Governor Polis and his bank accounts, his donors. So then this will be a lot more self-sufficient from these roads for that. So we're headed in that direction. On the 22nd, the Board of Health met. We really didn't have much going on, but we did have an exciting new board member who was in the presence, which we will be going over today, doing by resolution. So Ron Rowe has been selected by our selection committee. Thank you, Commissioner Hess, Rockland County Commissioners, for Dr. Ron Rowe. He's going to be a great asset to the Board of Health with a background in respiratory therapy for decades. So he is retired, but he has stayed in his home community, and we look forward to working working with him. We do have some spraying opportunities available for the community if you're needing for mosquitoes, or in the pill boxes that they drop in standing water. So please reach out to Ken Gonzalez, the Board of Health, the Health Department, and they will be able to assist you in getting a spray time designated for you, make an appointment, and we'll move forward with that. The COVID, again, is resurfacing as always, but we all come to know that we're going to live with it. It's here forever, and it is not as drastic and dangerous as it was back in 2020. The strains have changed and they're not as deadly as they used to be. So, but there are some residual effects from having COVID. And some folks are having some really bad issues because of it. So keep that in your thoughts. On the 25th, the TPR convened in Garfield County. We've got a quite lengthy day that day, but for the local projects, I'll just kind of give little dates on that. The Walsenburg bridge replacements is still in the construction phase. They're working on that for completion now in completion of 2024. That was a cost of about $20 million. We do have a representative today to give a presentation related to Route 5 regarding another project we'll be looking at on 25 south of Trinidad. The other proud surfacing that I'm very proud of is the Kim Pritchett. Mayor Bud Rose from the town of Kim was very excited and thankful for CDOT getting that done. I know it's been in the works for quite a while. And then there's this multiple amount of traffic and design phases of what's happening right now. We did introduce to CCI, going to be introducing a bill that is currently being worked out with lobbyists right now, type owners, on how we're going to do the request of not merging the South Central Council of Governments with the Southeastern. So a bill will be introduced here soon. Hopefully CCA will take it as a priority bill. Unfortunately, Summit County is still opposed to it, and the Commissioner Poe, for some reason they think the funding mechanism is going to be taken from here to there, but it doesn't work that way. Rob, you know that the funding mechanism is based on population and need and an assessment like that. Miles will have a formula for it, and it's not going to affect them. What will affect us is we'll lose our voice at the State Transportation Advisory Committee. We don't want to lose a voice. The bill will introduce another voice to another TPR region for Summit County, and that's the purpose of that. So moving forward with that, and then I was also, since the absence of Commissioner DeLucia in his stepping down as county commissioner, he was the chair of the Transportation Planning Commission. We put it out to the mayor of Trinidad and Mayor Walsenburg and the county commissioner who was present at that meeting if they would like to take over the position of chair, and unfortunately I was nominated to be chairman of the TPR, and I'll handle that for the remainder 5 months of my office tenure. So I tried to push those away and pull me back in. So look forward to serving the local TPR, Transportation Planning Region, until January 1st. On 26th, Front Range Rail, Passenger Rail met again with this at the monthly board meeting. Again, we have some many updates, so we're doing with the discussion that I mentioned earlier. And then on the 2nd, this past Friday, I was very proud to be part of my fellow commissioners and our staff and our Los Animas County Employee Appreciation Dinner we had. This is our 2nd year for doing that, and I think it's brought a lot of our county employees for a nice meal together, and a huge thank you to them. Being in government, we all know this is a thankless job, and it was our way of the county commissioners saying thank you to each one of our employees who and their families were able to attend. And it was a nice time, and thanks to our executive team, Paul, Christy, Sean, Phil, Brandy, Kenny, all you guys that were there to put that whole thing together. What a wonderful time it was, and that's my role.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hess.
On the 11th, I attended the BLM meeting. The meeting was about the proposed resource management plan and EIS for big game habitat conservation for oil and gas management in Colorado. Notable changes between the draft and the final EIS were primarily in the northwest and the southwest of Colorado because of the high priority habitat for mule deer and elk. One of the major concerns that was raised by one of the individuals that was present was he noted that during this study of rule-making wind turbinization and utility-scale solar energy and its effects on big game species habitat were omitted from the study process. And he was reminded that public protest period starts in August, so he's probably protesting as we speak. On the 12th, I attended, along with the commissioners, the Veterans Affairs Active Stakeholders meeting at the Championship Building. Team Los Animas County was well represented during this important meeting. State Representative Winter, Los Animas County Commissioners, Los Animas County Department of Health officials, Mayor Griego, and Los Animas County businesswoman Amy Wilson were all present. Los Animas County veterans were fortunate to have qualified, dedicated individuals such as Ray Owen and Matt Dipping was advocating on their behalf. I was also at the TPR meeting on the 25th of July. I'm not going to go into it too far. I just wanted to highlight that $235 million worth of projects were completed in 14 counties this year, which is really something. A lot of them, I believe 17.8 million of them were right here in Los Animas County. August 2nd, attended the Employee Appreciation Dinner at the Los Animas County Fairgrounds. Kudos to staff for pulling off something that was really fun. We were able to have a little giveaway at the end with the raffle, and it seemed like everybody had a great time. And the score pad about got me in trouble. On August 3rd, I was able to attend the Fisher Peak Fire Department Awards banquet at Tequila's. Folks couldn't be there. I'm going to tell a little story on this. It was also Fire Chief Buddy Curro's retirement ceremony. It was heartwarming. Some of the individuals broke down into tears. It was tough after 30 years of serving the community to have to step down and hand the reins over and turn them out to pasture. It was well attended with 50 plus attendees. At the end of the meeting, Fisher Peak Fire Department Chief Gladden was promoted, and also Fisher Peak Fire Department Captain Joe Hall was promoted. We thought that Buddy was going to be on his way out, and Dave Gladden said, "You know, I really need some help. Would you come back and work with me for a couple of years to mentor me?" And we're going to create a new position, the Deputy Fire Chief. So for 2 years, he asked to come back and help mentor Dave Gladden, and he was willing to do that, more than willing. When I gave my speech, I walked up in front of the group and I said, Buddy, he introduced me as one of a very special guests. And when I got up there, I said, "I don't feel so special." I was his secretary, his feelings were special. And I let it kind of simmer like that before we got into it. It was great. It was a fun evening, and I've known the girls for a long time, and it was fun to kind of go back and forth. That's what's
Thank you, sir. On a very good moment, I think part of being representing the county, we also have to have a little bit of laughter. And so thank you, Commissioner, for doing that for us. On August 2nd, the Colorado Counties Incorporated called an urgent meeting for possibly a special session that the governor is going to be calling. This could happen any time between now and the next 30 to 45 days. I don't have any more information on that, but we had an urgent meeting last Friday, and part of the topics of that meeting was to talk about property taxes. We have been talking property taxes since Proposition HH. Then we had a special session a year ago. We may be having another one. There is a group that I believe is Banks Colorado that has two propositions, Proposition 50 and then 108. They have had conversations with the governor, and apparently there is a certain amount of a compromise that if they agree to a special session, they might be willing to pull those two initiatives from the ballot. However, it is my understanding that those two ballots have to be, they have till September 20th to pull them out, so the special session will have to take place before then. And one of the things that personally made a recommendation to the Colorado Counties Inc., if we're going to allow a special session, to please send a letter to the governor that only one item, one issue, because the special session that happened in 2023, at the beginning of just a right after the Proposition 8 change actually failed, one of the things, they ended up passing several pieces of legislation. If you're going to call a special session, let's keep it on property taxes. So I believe the Colorado County CCI are going to be meeting with or already met perhaps with the executive board of directors, which Commissioner Haas is one of them, to approve the letter, the language, basically telling the governor, we from counties may support these, but please don't bring 7 other 8 bills. Let's keep it a property tax and property tax alone. Let's see what happens. We'll keep you posted on that. There are a lot of compromises on this. Thanks, Colorado. If they pull these 108 and 50, both of those pieces of could be ballot initiatives, who knows what the state, why they're settling and negotiating. But in any event, we foresee that that's going to be happening. So stay tuned, and we'll give more information as it evolves. On the 26th, we had July 26th, we had the Army, the Fort Carson group. They visited the chambers. They gave us an update of what's going on, and certainly there's a lot of communication from the Fort Carson to Piedmont Canyon to the communities whom they serve. And one of the important, I think, salient points of the meeting was that they transferred the garrison commander, outgoing garrison commander. There is a new one coming in, I believe he's already in place. So the rotation of colonels happens every 2 years. So we were able to meet the new commander and welcome the opportunity to continue to work with them at Piedmont Canyon and all the things that we as county commissioners may be impacted by activity from the Army in our county. On the July 19th, we held a meeting with the opioid settlement funds, Region 19. We had a commissioner from Providence County got stepped down, and she had been serving as the chair of the opioid Region 19. I was nominated, and I was elected as the chair of Region 19 for, I hope, the remaining of the year. As you said, we'll see what happens, but for now, that responsibility comes to Los Angeles County. We are going to be meeting, we're awarding a lot of funds, which shortly we're going to be hearing from one of the benefactors of these funds for Region 19. So it is exciting to be involved in so many aspects of this thing. I wanted to highlight one of the things the commissioners, when they mentioned the TPR meeting that we had in July 25th in Walsenburg. We are going to be having until the 27th of September to continue to make changes to the proposed legislation. So if we see anything that may or may not be, we're going to be having the Southern District meeting is going to happen in September 6th, and I'm not sure when that's going to take place, but we're going to be meeting as the Southern District, and we're going to be taking an opportunity to introduce this, and I'm hoping that we have, as we have now the schedule, to present these to every one of the districts as we go through the process, so we can garner all the support and get above and beyond 65% of the vote at CCI, so we can make it a priority, CCI priority deal, and I think we can. So we have a little bit of leeway to work and make any changes, which is really something that has not really happened in an open manner through this time. So the opportunity to work with CDOT, to work with STAC, it's going to be the communication that comes from this particular bill. But Los Angeles County should not be merged with other counties because indeed that voice will be taken away from us. And that's the way we feel. This is not a matter of not wanting to play on the sandbox. This is a matter of actually continuing to having the voice because we have an interstate that goes right through here, whereas the adjacent counties do not. So on that, that's pretty much going to be my my report. And at this time, I'm going to go now to the elected officials update. I'm not sure if we have anyone. Los Animas County Assessor. Los Animas County Clerk and Recorder. Anyone from the Treasurer's Office? Do we have any updates from the Sheriff's Office?
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a quick update. We had a lost hiker on Fisher's Peak State Trail on Sunday. We called out our search and rescue members from Fisher's Peak Fire and Only Fire. And thankfully, she was able to walk out yesterday morning. She had fallen into a little area where we couldn't see her. So I just wanted to thank all of our volunteers. We have some of the best volunteers in this area. They work hard and they call out quickly and try to get that as soon as we can get going. So I'm thankful for the outcome, but I just want to thank all volunteers from our fire departments and our search and rescue.
And thank you, Sheriff. That was such a great news yesterday morning when we received that. So thank you for your work and commitment. Do we have anyone from the District Attorney's Office? Anyone from the Coroner's Office? Well, hearing none, now we're going to go adjourn. I believe we do have a couple of presentations. I do see Dr. Rob Archuleta online, and I would like to introduce you Dr. Archuleta, and he is with Crossroads Turning Point. We had an opportunity a couple of months ago to do a press release in Pueblo when it comes to the opioid pandemic that we are, epidemic, whatever you want to call this, that is happening. But one of the things that we did is the 9 counties we got together in Pueblo, Dr. Archuleta and I exchanged a couple of opportunities to, a couple of ideas to present to counties what is it from Crossroads Turning Point, what kind of services are they providing to communities to combat these opioid challenges that we're going through. So good morning, sir, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so with the C-Corp funding, one of the things that they did is they put funding into prevention, treatment, and then recovery. And so we were able to obtain all 3 funding sources for our prevention program, our treatment program, and our recovery. So just to kind of separate real quick, prevention is preventing youth or anybody into entering drug and alcohol issues or prevent them from trying or using. Treatment is treating those who have who are currently suffering with addiction, and then recovery is to aid the people in recovering from addiction. So I'll start with one of the other grants that we got, funding opportunities we got for C-Corp to serve Los Animas and all the surrounding areas where, we go all the way to Lamar, and one of those things was alternative activities, outreach, and so we've done a lot. We've done a lot in Trinidad. We are providing yoga in Huerfano County, as an alternative activity, keeping people healthy. In Trinidad, we've been a part of Santa Fe Trail Days. We've been a part of the Elder Abuse Awareness Day, giving information, giving overdose reversal medications. And I'm going to totally ruin this, but Chicanos por la Kawasa, is that right? Is that close? That was an event that just happened, we were a part of in Trinidad. So I think I might have messed that up so bad that you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, so it is Chicanos por la Causa.
La Casa, okay. Okay, close enough, all right. I make my dad proud. So that's some of the events we did. And we also I would like to get with, to meet with some of the leaders in Los Angeles County as I have other counties and train them on biases and harm reduction. Like, not to convince anybody that harm reduction is good, but it's painted with such a big brush that to help people understand what they're okay with and what they're not okay with. So we still have some funding to advocate and do trainings. Los Animas has not, I've done it, and providing trainings in Denver, Springs, all across the state. We still have not had an opportunity to get with Los Animas, so I definitely would like to do that with some of the community leaders. And like I said, it's not promoting anything, it's just educating and saying like, hey, this might be what I'm okay with, this is what I'm not. With our prevention grant, we were refunded again. We were cut down 50% from the grant, but we still provided a lot of services in our first cycle, and we'll still continue to provide services, although it won't be as much. And what we're doing with that is we're in Goal Academy. And Goal Academy serves the whole state. And so what we're doing there is we're doing evidence-based curricula that combats the things that lead to drug and alcohol. So we're not in there telling them how dangerous marijuana, meth, heroin, they have Google, they don't need us to do that. Some of them are fact checking us in real time. The teenagers are really fast. So what we do is we teach them about critical thinking, we teach them about decision making, self-esteem, and communication, and we're providing them with those life skills that have evidence and evidence-based curriculum that we're using to help people stay away from drugs and alcohol or engaging in dangerous behaviors. That's what we're doing with our prevention grant. With our treatment grant, we were funded to provide co-occurring services, mental health services to those struggling with opioid addiction. And so we have somebody in Huerfano County that is serving all of the communities, Los Animas as well, serving that community, anybody who needs co-occurring or mental health counseling. With our recovery, we started a recovery residence, and that is formerly sober living. So it's not really called sober living anymore. They're called recovery residents. We're certified recovery residents. We started, we heard the community wanted a female recovery resident, so people that were leaving treatment or getting help or finding sobriety. But after being open for like 3 months with no referrals, working with probation, parole, DHS, we just could not get the referrals. We switched it to males because the community was saying we need a recovery residence for males. Since we have moved that to male facility, we have been at capacity. Right now we have one opening, but we have pretty much been at capacity the whole time, and that is in Trinidad. And so we are able to support the community, we are able to support that program with 2 peers that is tied into our withdrawal management services, which have been really popular in the news in Trinidad, our detox center. So we have our peers working out of there. We have the recovery residents there in Trinidad. So we are super grateful and excited to have this opportunity to work. I started my career as a prevention educator in Los Animas, Gardner, Aguilar. I was in John Mall, I was in all the schools down there, and so traveling there every day for 4 years to one of those facilities. I've been stuck on Red Creek Springs Road more times in the snow than I can count in my little Honda Element when I first started in this field. So I love the communities there, and it's great to circle back and be serving those communities. Any questions for us or any questions for me about what we're doing?
Good morning, Doctor. This is Luis Lopez. Thanks for being here with us today. A thought for you possibly is some community outreach. As a Board of Health member, maybe you talked about some discussion with elected officials and stuff. In that same conversation, why don't we include, if we haven't already, the local Los Animas Huerfano County Health Department and see if they can assist you. I know we do distribute some of the Narcan and some of those programs that we have for the health department. Maybe that might be another educational tool that you'll be able to utilize in our community.
Yeah, I'm 100% down. I mean, I think my email's out there. If not, I can put it in the chat. But I'm 100% down to come and do any kind of training or anything that the community needs, or just a partner. I'm putting my email in the chat real quick. So yeah, I am there. Like, I think also it's understanding when people hear the term harm reduction, it's much more and much less than what they might perceive, right? It it's painted with such a big brush, and trying to navigate that without somebody who's done that. And specifically, my PhD and my research is around how harm reduction impacts substance abuse counselors. And so I have years of research doing it, years of research. You mentioned COVID, years of research during COVID. I graduated, so had a lot of time on my hands to do that. And so I like to share that, and honestly, like, just let everybody know it's okay to not accept some part of it, and then it's okay to accept certain parts of it. And that's kind of what the training is, just to find where you belong in it. And then I would also throw this out there. We're working because we see a need in Trinidad at becoming a domestic violence provider. That has nothing to do with C-Corps, but that's how invested we are in that community. We know that there's only one provider there. We're trying to become the second provider because if somebody doesn't do well in that program, they don't have options. And so we want to be there providing domestic violence like we do DUI and substance abuse treatment as well as detox.
Thank you, Doctor. One last comment. The Keep Trinidad Safe organization is also here. They
Yeah.
are located right down the street from us on the courthouse on First Street. And Jeremy Machoni and his staff have been doing a great job. They're helping our local folks with addiction, and maybe that'd be another resource for you to utilize while you're in Trinidad.
Thank you. Yeah, Heather Barnes is our supervisor down there. She works with Keep Trinidad Safe. And we had Shannon Miller, who started a lot of these grants, and unfortunately she passed away due to some complications. She was diagnosed with cancer. But she was prevalent in that community and really like out there doing tons of great stuff. And so we're still assigning her duties out to everybody, but I'll make sure I reach out, Keep Trinidad Safe.
Thank you.
Dr. Archuleta, Commissioner House, thank you for doing this important work. 10 years ago, I was heavily involved in this approach through CDA and also through the Colorado Farm Bureau, recognizing that Norfolk County and Los Angeles County were the opioid users' capital of Colorado. I mean, it was incredible the amount of overdoses and the addicted that we had there. So we, Commissioner Lopez and I, we reached out and we were able to get a map ban here, I believe in 2018, and then we got an additional map ban. So we recognize the importance of this program, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you for having us. I'll say this, I'll just throw this out there, like, it's interesting to see, because I work in Denver and Springs a lot too, it's interesting to see their perception of what we do from Pueblo through to New Mexico, right, in some of our smaller counties. But I think that we've been the most innovative and creative, and honestly, like, doing things that a lot of the bigger counties aren't doing, like the map bans a lot, you know. It's hard to serve that population, especially when they're transient. And so, like, I think that some of what, like, Los Animas work, no, we've been extremely creative with some of the programming that we've done to address this problem.
Thank you. Dr. Archuleta, thank you once again for being here with us. You know, I participate in all of the meetings with the BHA, Behavioral Health Administration, and one of the things that I continue to bring home to them is there's a new surfacing, kind of a hidden population, and that's the farming and ranching community that is going through a lot. Anything that the state tends to do lately in the last legislative sessions, it's impacting agriculture. So we have a lot of the farming and ranching community out there that are turning to, in a sense, self-medicating, if you will. So I would like to have a one-on-one with you and go through the process, because the BHA should be making funds available for rural Colorado and collaborating with agencies like yours. So we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I'll continue to be the strong voice for that. We met at CCI summer conference, and I reminded the team that rural Colorado is not Denver, that we need to pay attention to all the factors. And then, so that's kind of a footnote. My second point is, how are you dealing with all the influx of fentanyl and all these laced now drugs that have either pure or some type of a fentanyl? What kind of prevention and education do we need to, as communities, the 9 counties from C-Corps being led by entities like yours, what kind of information do we put out there for schools, as Commissioner Luis Lopez saying, just simply messaging the danger of these potentially deadly drugs that we have on the streets nowadays?
So one of the things I would say is, just so you know, I'm on the Behavioral Health Advisory Committee, so we do meet. I can bring that back to our group, and that's a group of people with. I'm on the BHAC, which is the people with lived experience that are navigating this, and then we help the BHA learn from a lived experience and professional standpoint. And so, like, giving me that information, I can take that back to them. I would also say that one of the most important things we can do with fentanyl prevention and education is, it's education and communication, right, without judgment. And it's interesting because when I first started in this field, alcohol was the most prevalent drug we were seeing in our detoxes. Now it's fentanyl and it's polysubstance use, because we have people who use meth, who use cocaine, who use even the vaping sticks with THC in it, and fentanyl is in everything. And so we have people that are testing positive for fentanyl and not knowing that they're utilizing fentanyl, which is making their withdrawal of their substance of choice difficult. One of the things that we do in our community is we do fentanyl testing strips, and I know that sounds controversial, but so that they can check their drugs, so that they can check whatever they're doing to see if there's fentanyl in it. Because if there's knowingly fentanyl in it, that makes their risk of overdose a lot harsher, right? The other thing that we try to do is I can tell you this, and this is personal, not from Crossroads. When I did my research, one of the things that we saw with the changes in the law or the advocacy for harm reduction or the abandonment of abstinence-based treatment is law enforcement being a little deflated. And when I say law enforcement being deflated, they just feel like they're not supported because of the changes in the law. And so one of the things that we do, and that maybe Los Animas could consider doing, is engaging with the Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program, a LEAD program, so that we can get the people in services instead of incarceration. So that would be an agency like Crossroads we have in Pueblo, working with law enforcement to make sure that those participants would go and be diverted out of the judicial system and into case management system. Because the truth is, one of the commissioners, I believe, said that COVID's here to stay. We have to learn to live with it, and we got to minimize the damage it does. We're kind of in a weird place with fentanyl where it's here to stay. The difference between COVID and fentanyl is it has not gotten any less deadlier. And so this is an all hands on deck. And so it's supporting law enforcement. It's having everybody that's working with this, whether it's a school, another agency, law enforcement, is leaving our logos at home and just participating in addressing the issues as people who care about each other and citizens that care about each other. It's not about an agency. It's not about incarceration. It's not about hospitalization. It's about overall saving lives and working together and communicating and making sure that we're getting people to the right services. So the only way that we're addressing this is by metaphorically holding hands and sharing resources and sharing information with each other, which we have never done. It's always been a little competitive, but this fentanyl thing has brought us all together. So continuing for treatment providers to continue to support law enforcement continuing to support treatment, as well as the schools and educating and being there, at when we're needed and not 2 days later. So that's how we're addressing it, through education and communication and collaboration.
Thank you, and let me close with the last question. How many young people are you serving? And then, what is the BHA and organizations like yours doing, looking forward to the psilocybin hallucinogen mushrooms? Is that going to play any role in all this soup of things that we're being faced with?
Yeah, so I will say, sorry, what was the first part of your question?
How many clients are you serving?
So with the teens in the prevention program, we're serving just, we're kind of, because it's hard to tell where each demographic comes from because we're all in a virtual classroom. But, I believe that, we're getting 12, 13 in class. in some of those classes, is what our prevention supervisor told me. I know that we did submit our exact numbers to the C Corps board for prevention. As far as like just what we're doing at Crossroads, it's because we have a detox there in Los Animas and Trinidad. Our detox numbers have been surprisingly low, and that's because, you know, well, they had somebody drive a Bobcat through it. I'm sure most of you know. So we have some rebuilding that we're doing, but our numbers have been low because we haven't really been engaging and communicating with the hospital. I feel like those relationships could help and get people into treatment, and also just getting out there and letting the community know that just because they do Trinidad, just because there's not a residential in Trinidad, we can help them withdraw or detox in Trinidad and transport them to Pueblo for residential treatment if that's what's needed. So also letting people know, you know, what's available to them and communicating with them. As far as the psilocybin goes, I'm gonna be honest with you, like from what I'm reading and seeing, it's the Wild West with a lot of this stuff. Like, I think it's really important to separate the psilocybin being used to address trauma and being used in a clinical environment, and then people trying to microdose and address any issues and make themselves feel better personally. Like that, there needs to be a line drawn. Like it can be helpful when used as a tool, but just like a hammer, right? When you use a hammer as a tool to hit a nail, it's amazing, but when you use it to hit somebody else, it's bad. And so psilocybin is the same way, right? If you're using psilocybin in a therapeutic environment, it can help you deal with traumas. If you're using it outside of that with other drugs, it can be dangerous. And so I think it's communicating and not just throwing out the good with the bad. There are good, but it's got to be used correctly. And there are bad. And I think social media it's hard to challenge social media. There's so much misinformation out there, and so I have seen a lot of studies where psilocybin has been used correctly, therapeutic, and working with veterans that have PTSD, and that's it. We could even do a whole class on that, you know. But it can be helpful and it can be bad. So.
Well, Dr. Archuleta, thank you for joining us this morning. Really appreciate that information, and we would like to hear periodically from your company and certainly what you're doing. And you're welcome to collaborate with any agency within the San Luis County to put an education evening of the Did You Know type of thing. So, but thank you so much, and keep up the good work, and great speaking with you this morning, sir.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now let me call CDOT's Mr. Russ Wright. Live fencing. Well, whichever, I think those mics are on, or you can actually come to the podium, whatever works for you.
Give me just a moment.
Okay, sure.
And you might need to turn the microphone on. Hold up.
I think I need permission to share.
Yeah, give me a minute, I have
Okay.
the wrong, but now you should be close to being able to tie in.
All right? Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
I think, can you hear him, Sean?
No, we need to turn on this second receiver in the box. You gotta go around kind of in the back. It's the second portable one for those microphones.
We'll get there.
It's just like a little small box up there.
All right. How's that, Sean?
Sean, can you hear?
Is the microphone turned on the table?
Yes.
Okay.
about now?
How about now? This one.
I'm hearing you in the PA. Okay, how's that?
You're too quiet.
Too quiet?
The current attorney can speak up.
All right. I will speak up. First of all, thank you for having us, commissioners. Just overarching view of this, I'm just cut to the chase, and then you can know where we're going and all this. So CDOT, we had an opportunity to go after a wildlife crossing grant. Part of our strategic strategy is to have Animas submit it on behalf, and we'll go through the reasons for that. But in the meantime, before we get there, I just want to go through kind of how we got to this position and what the proposed project is, and then the reasons for why we're going to cross this county to better position this project to be selected. So with that, I also want to thank Dave for being here. He's our environmental manager. I think most of you know Jeff Guthrie. He's left-hand or right-hand man. He sees the other hand. Just wanted to give him credit. A lot of the studies that have been going on, Dave's been really the guy that's been promoting and pushing out for the last 35 years. So with that, I'll talk about it. So just kind of background and history, back in 2019, CDOT completed the West Slope Wildlife Prioritization Study. This was an effort with CDOT and CPW that really identified, wildlife causing conflicts on the West Slope. And it identified projects and target areas for mitigation to help those wildlife herds on the West Slope. That was incredibly successful. Several projects came out of that and are continuing to be constructed. So we thought it was our turn to look at the East Slope and the Plains as well. We did a very similar study that looked at that. That study was completed in 2002. Out of that study, Raton Pass was identified as the highest priority for Region 2. And then just this kind of refines it down more to what's been going on in the Raton Pass, both in New Mexico and Colorado side. Back in 2018, as you know, New Mexico DOT constructed a wildlife fence from Raton up to the top of the pass. That caused us to go off the board guard, to be quite honest, so we're scrambling to figure out what needed to be done. Fortunately, we had started that considered prioritization study. And then in 2019, Colorado Wildlife Transportation Alliance identified the Raton Pass as the statewide highest priority. And then also that year, Fisher Street State Park was established. So just Colorado Wildlife Transportation Alliance is made up of CDOT, CPW, Mule Deer Foundation, Rocky Mountain Foundation, some other groups that help us prioritize projects and just which has a little bit. And then in 2002, again, we still recognized it as a priority. And then in 2024, we'll go through this year real quick. We're wrapping up a couple of wildlife studies on the Raton Pass, and this is where Dave has been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. So we kicked off the first phase of this study, just looking at the Raton Pass corridor. The initial phase, you can see there's phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is from milepost 0 to 11. And what that looked at was evaluating state control crash data for vehicle hits on wildlife, but then also look at LACC maintenance information that had the wildlife hits as well. And it did a statistical analysis and determined that there was 11 hotspots just in that 11-mile section. Once we got done with that, we were working with CPW and some other folks as well. CPW, Bob Holder specifically, said, you're missing that last 3-mile segment, and that's probably as big, if not more, than other sections on that. So we did phase 2. And we're wrapping that portion up here. I believe that 2025 is 2025. That portion of that study will get wrapped up, and that seems to be targeting target species and bears going that corridor.
So is that from 11 to 14? Or?
That will be 11 to 14. Yeah. So we have those two studies, those are being completed by CSU Pro. And then We are working with a consultant, Ganesh, that is actually taking that information and identifying what sort of infrastructure can be put in place and kind of put together different isolated or independent projects that can be constructed. So, you know, we may have a hotspot in one location, but we really can put wildlife crossing there because the topography just isn't enough. So trying to figure out what makes the most sense and prioritize projects as we move forward.
So as you're going through this, I would imagine that you're identifying right now the most traveled corridors for deer, elk, and all the other wildlife to be included there. So have you worked with the local representatives in the community? You know, one thing we don't want to appear to be, certainly the community doesn't know anything of what's going on, and then we start getting phone calls, hey, what happened? When was this? When was public comment and so on?
Right. Yeah, we do. I have a slide on that. I believe it was early this year. It was, the specific dates are in the slide, but it was February, March timeframe that we came out with public notice and public comment response time period. And we have reached out to some little HOAs in the area, in Santa Fe, HOA, and then drawn a blank on the ranch that's right up there. Gluten Ranch. We're trying to find contact for that. I don't believe we made specific contact with that.
Before you leave today, you can go into the assessor's office, and they can identify the proper property owner.
So yeah, there has been some outreach in the community. I can't tell you exactly who the main ones are.
We worked with our communications director, Leslie Maddox, so she was in charge of distributing that information to various officials here. That's why we have names. They were distributed, but we didn't have any type of presentation.
And just, if I may, a little background for the board and those listening in. Rob sent me an email or two regarding this process, and I was able to relay that to Strong, and that's why he's here today to see any questions we might have before we agree or not agree to assist with the committee for Mr. Hass's knowing that property so well, operating those ranches so well, and for any agricultural questions he may have.
I do have a question. So are these landmass bridges, are they going to go over the top of the traffic to where all the animals will be able to cross over, even the babies? Because that's the one thing that bothers me is when mama bear jumps off one of those hills, that baby bear sometimes won't do it. And elk the same way, deer the same way. So if there are bridges over the top of the traffic to where everything can get across, I like that idea. But I don't like the little jump offs.
We're looking at, and we'll have a picture on the next slide that'll show what we're proposing. They're cheaper and they tend to be equally more effective. Underpasses for wildlife, they meet certain criteria rather than doing an overpass. So that's primarily what we're looking at.
Good. I hate to see that baby bear stuck on that side. I've seen it before.
With land, we've seen it with deer, elk, a lot of small animals get trapped just like you're seeing, so I try not to let that happen. Something it does.
Then I think one of the points that will be so important to recognize is what is the success rate of those already established up north? There are so many throughout the state of Colorado, those fencing and bypasses and underpasses. What is the success rate? And as Commissioner Haas says, you know, the one thing we don't want to do is leave the offspring behind and only simply to just perish. Either accessibility to water, food, I mean, they can only survive for so long, right?
Yeah, so success rate, I'm not sure how to determine that, but I'll give you a few examples. So I'm sure Highway 9, where we do have overpasses and underpasses, that those fences were primarily built for mule deer migration there. And we have videos all the documentation that shows that the mule deer held found those quickly, and elk especially, once that lead cow finds that, they are able to then pass that on to additional generations. They find it rather quickly. And then part of the scope with the consultant is to take those considerations into account when identifying the locations for those wildlife crossings.
And I'm going to put this as the introduction moves, a couple of years ago, now they're reproducing, they're going to start moving all the way throughout. And I would imagine that's going to be part of the study to be addressed, because once they start moving, and I know we think they're going to live on Lake County, but they're going to move all the way throughout. And soon we're going to have a new family of wolves, and that's going to be pushing wildlife. And if the impact study is not done properly, that just became a feeding grounds for another predator.
Yes.
So interesting position you guys are in.
Yeah, no, the good thing is we've been working with Fisher State Park, CPW on all of these studies, both the CSU Pueblo and then the project development. So they've been highly involved in working with the private property.
Well, it's very important to protect the wildlife. Of course, we all respect that and want what's best for our wildlife. Human life, way different story. And that's the reason why you're here today, to discuss what's the safety, what is the measures, what does it look like, what are the accidents now, you're giving us the hot spots, and how much can we prevent while protecting the wildlife.
So I'll jump into the proposal. So this project proposal that we're putting forward is wildlife fencing from the top of the pass to tie into the New Mexico side from 0 to 2.1. And then we're proposing, you can see there in that picture, that kind of little broad structure of the fence that's a jump out. You can see them trapped inside the fence and they're not being jumped out. We do have studies that show that they use those readily and are highly effective. And then there's additional deer guards at driveways and frontage roads to prevent the deer from crossing. It's like a cattle guard for them, at those places where we obviously can't fence. Right away, no new right away would be required for this project, and easements from adjacent landowners may be required for the construction of it, but no, the permanent one and continue to fence right away.
And that's maintenance also.
Correct. And then this project, we're including additional features like cold cleanouts, because animals do use culverts readily, especially bears and bobcats and smaller animals. Just opening those up as a infrastructure, just to make it more competitive. And then you guys do have the New Mexico jumping mouse down here on the pass as well. That's another threat species. So we're looking at providing some benefits to that as well. But that is not the primary focus. So this is an example of what we're proposing. That structure there is 50 feet wide and 50 feet high. This is a great picture. Obviously, we would not install the structure back up. The picture on the right there, I think it's great for I-25 because it shows that we would have a double structure with that median crossing in there. And that gives you an idea of what the elk can see. It's nice, it's wide, it's open. They do use this type of structure readily. So this is the structure that we're proposing. Locations at mile 1.6, which is also at McBride Creek. We are not proposing to put the structure at McBride Creek for a couple of reasons. The primary reason is it's a 40-foot cut to get down there, which would be incredibly expensive. So our proposal is to move it slightly to the north, where we don't have to cut as much of the roadway because of how we install the structure. So it will be slightly offset where the bike is. And that was a hotspot area that was identified. also a well-known spot on the Fisher Street side of the Elk Avenue ground. And then that location also has a road crossing there that also has a large arch culvert that they can actually pass as well. So it does actually look at connecting, maintain that connectivity here around the Animas in a safe way. It's also been east-west mandatory route.
I can jump in and add one thing there. It's just the idea of what's happening with the rental portion and the Mexico portion of the fence. We're actually really concerned about animals migrating north into Colorado because of the fence that New Mexico installed. So this continuity to that fence and capitalize on an additional 2 miles of fence in Colorado. And then that other fence will allow animals to go east and west on the interstate, where the nearest crossing in Mexico is about 3 miles south of the border. So this is to allow that east-west connectivity closer to the border to alleviate the hotspot that's emerging at the end of the fence at the top of the border.
This particular grant is just for this first initial 2 miles. Right. In this underpass, so it's not for the entire study that you developed or looking at, it's just for this section.
Right. Yeah, and like you pointed out, in phase 2 study that's ongoing right now, like you mentioned, there's a brand new hotspot at the top of the pass because the fencing is there. And, you know, their jurisdiction ends there and ours begins, and so it's just created a new issue at that location. So that's why we're going to continue from there. And now this next slide is just giving you a background of the grant. It was part of one of the many grant programs that was passed under the bipartisan infrastructure law. The funding identified in years 22 through 26. 22 and 23 have already been awarded. We'll talk about that very briefly. So we're looking at the 2024 year with $70 million. The match requirements is a 20% match, which CDOT has identified in our 10-year plan already. So we have a phase 1 and phase 2 for return pass. Phase 1 has been completed, that was exit 11. So that's been constructed. We have another $3 million that's sitting there. Not doing anything at the moment. It was identified for a variety of things: safety improvements, rockfall mitigation, wildlife mitigation as well. So we thought this was a great opportunity to get that funding and use this information in this program and leverage it to build a new project.
So there'll be no Los Animas County dollars required. CDOT already has the match set up in the South Central City.
That's correct, and that comes from your 10-year plan project. And then the state is required to administer the funding if we're successfully awarded. And then you can see that the funds need to be allocated by September 2027.
And what's the primary reason that Los Angeles is
I will get you down the next slide if give you just a little bit of leeway there. And then this is just the dollar amount. We have that $3 million already identified there. We want to leverage as much as we can. $12 million is a little bit of a cushion in there, to be quite honest. 10% contingency, and then it provides us an opportunity still, if we don't get the full funding, if we only get 10 or 9 million, for us to cut that fencing back a little bit, but still be able to provide fencing and that underpass. We really need that underpass for this project to be successful. Otherwise, we end up in the same situation we have in that underpass. So, and then I'm going to get you the question right now. Why Los Animas County? So, like I said, years 22 and 23 have been awarded already. Region 1 in Douglas County, they were awarded I believe, a $22 million grant for an overpass, not an underpass, but an overpass. They're just north of the El Paso County line. And then that second bullet there, you can see that CDOT is applying this year with 4 other projects. So the reason we thought it would be pitching in to have Los Angeles submit it is kind of spreading the peanut butter, for lack of a better word. CDOT's already been successful in one grant application. We don't want to compete against ourselves any more than we have to. And then hopefully the federal folks that take a look at this grant will see that it's a local sponsored grant and not a state sponsored grant. And maybe they'll focus and be more likely to award to a local agency rather than state agency. So that's the whole rationale. With that said, CDOT, we're currently, we have a draft, very rough draft, but we have a draft of the grant already put together. If awarded, CDOT would administer the grant, we would take care of the construction oversight. Really all we're asking you guys to do is to sign off on the submit the grant for this project.
Where would the responsibility lie for anything by the county? So if, for instance, you get the grant, for whatever reason, you would fund, then where's that in Los Angeles County?
You guys, my understanding, talking with our grant coordinator, because we do this with several other folks as well, CDOT takes the responsibility of it. And CDOT has an estimate. We will not let it go to fund. Just to be bluntly at the point. Los Animas County, we will find a way to ensure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I think, just kind of to follow up on that, and I'm looking at our finance director, as far as the fiscal reporting, would that be going through you all, or would we be doing all the, collecting the information from you, reporting it back to the grantor through our finance office?
So that's a great question. I can give you an example from a project that we're doing right now. It's called the Master Project up in Colorado Springs. It's over $100 million project. We got $15 or $18 million. That's called the Growth Grant. And CDOT right now is going to be reporting on that. It was awarded to City of Colorado Springs. That's what they on that. So CDOT will really help with that. I don't know specifically, but we would take the lead on that. If you guys need to report on it, we would provide all the information you need.
Well, and that's a good one. I think a conversation for us internally to have is to actually have some kind of an MOU between the two of us, understanding. So there is the legal understanding of where each entity is going to be at the end of the day. I think the more is in writing in the thought process ahead of time, then we're going to be successful in the project.
Possibly as well as if there's a much reporting needed on our behalf, possibly identifying administrative costs for doing so. If it's not going to be necessary, then we probably won't need the admin fees to Los Angeles County. But that would be up to your determination of CDOT and then moving forward like that. So there's going to be a lot of work involved and possibly some sort of stipend. But if not, then CDOT would take the ball, we would just make the sign off on.
I am not 100%, but I'm pretty close to it, that I will follow up with the direction to that. So,
Okay, and then if you can, your presentation not done yet, but quite close to the end. Then we can have legal counsel kind of review any issues that the county would have for liability and make sure that that's included. That document where we send back that shows responsibility for defunking or the grant and the whole. So Los Angeles County is not held liable. We do a lot of grants all the time. We always cover our bases here very carefully to represent the Los Angeles County residents and know we have to meet that issue moving forward. So that information will be brought back to Mr. Norringham, myself, and it's going to be the channel to go. And then we can have that information beforehand and then possibly move forward with an agenda item for a decision on our August 20th meeting. Would that be sufficient time?
yeah, I think that timing will work. So it kind of leads into that last bullet and that next steps. The grant needs to be submitted by September 4th, 2024. So I think that timeframe will work. We will, this afternoon or tomorrow, start sending out letters of support with us. We will send one to Los Angeles County. You guys haven't made a decision yet. So if you choose not to be the lead applicant on that, we can certainly support on this project. So we will receive that, like I said, later this afternoon or probably tomorrow at the latest. Just to cover our bases. then, I know I had another thing I don't remember.
I'll remind you of the next one you were gonna. I think, as you mentioned, Colorado Springs, Douglas County, all these counties, as the grantor looks at the application coming from San Luis County, being the grantee and the responsibilities, as you're managing those other projects, there is case law, if you will, as far as you managing all of it and doing all the reporting. I just want to make sure that for us, that is transparent, very explicit, that at the end of the day, well, these documents are not coming from San Luis County, they're actually coming from. I want to make sure that there is no, the process will be as transparent for us as well as for you.
Yes.
And I know that's the one you were thinking of.
Absolutely, so I do have my two follow-up items, and then I'll leave these to Mr. Brown. Sure. Financial reporting, who's responsible, any administrative fees are needed for your staff, and then in the unlikely event, if there was a default, who's responsible. So those are the two items that Mr.
The only thing I would add to that is the specifics in the grant, the requisites of who administers the grant, it must be administered by a state department of transportation. So it's explicitly said, even if there's a partner agency, like what goes in here, it still falls back and see that that is a requisite in the actual grant application. So it spells it out on that side. And I think that does spell it out in case law, like you're reading, but I understand that it doesn't say that, but it does say it has to be administered by a state agency.
I should have used the word precedent.
It's
Instead of
just,
legislative.
I get what you're going on.
It's all, at the end of the day, I think I like this idea of protecting our travelers up and down the I-25 corridor, protecting our wildlife, and to make sure that me personally, that Los Angeles County is not held responsible for anything other than assisting and protecting our residents and our wildlife.
We're going to get the formal response put together. And I think we only have 2 slides left. This is just a map that shows the project corridor. It really ends there where it says railroad. So Blue Ranch is to the east, and then Fisher Peak is to the west. I'm sorry about that. Fisher's Peak State Park is to the east, and Blue Ranch is to the west.
Do you have a projected cost of what it would have been for over the highway bridge, wildlife bridge?
We do, and that was part of one of the consultant tasks that we had them do, and that was probably a $20 million structure.
And what's this one, 12 million or 15 million?
For the whole project was $15 million, but
Yeah, that includes fencing, that includes the underpass, so, I believe it's about $2 million per structure. That's all the cost proposal.
Because I see where you have a couple over the, passes over the top that you've already constructed, or were already constructed.
So I think maybe a good example is again that project that was awarded in Douglas County. I believe that was $30 million overpass. And that's in a relatively flat, easy to construct area. This being much more mountainous, I can imagine that cost would go up. That's probably gives you a good idea since that is I-25 and the project as well.
And now the crossing was moved south from McBride Creek? North.
Slightly, yeah, just to the north.
So, agricultural wise, I don't know if there's any property owners on either side of I-25 of this crossing proposed. Will they also have access to livestock, horses and stuff to traverse through this area safely?
So in theory, yes, but I think in practical terms with Fisher's Peak State Park, they don't allow grazing, it's not part of the master plan, so they're looking at these cattle and Route 25 in this location. So the specific project, in theory, yes, they could certainly use it, but there would not be a need. I think that would come up in future projects. see those structures that we've seen moved to possible, it's much smaller because being wide enough for help. Yeah.
Are they large enough for vehicle traffic?
Yes.
So it's gonna be a horse trade right now.
Yeah, 15 feet tall is what they're talking about.
And I was part of the Fisher Creek Master Plan group, and there will be capital eventually.
Okay.
Above exit 2, just across from the road. And that's why I was curious where the crossing was going to be, knowing, so that would come out in that gentleman's yard there by the Lugu Ranch House, correct? So pretty close to there instead of,
That's great.
okay.
And I think, so part of the, for me, the only thing is continuing to do the stakeholding locally, especially with those landowners, whether Fisher's Creek is on the east side of, and you might have some property owners on the west side of that could be impacted, if they're not private landowners and they're grazing, and that's going to be completely open, whereas right now, it's not. So those communications need to be in place.
Yeah, so we've been working with Fisher's Creek there. We need to reach out to the ranch. With that said, we're not proposing to close any structures that are currently being used now. So any culverts that are being used to move cattle and still and I think that's what I think my last slide is. Yeah, this was something that we got with any questions and issues in the last slide.
Well, I want to thank you, both of you, for being here, and I certainly will take all this information into advisement and consideration. And we'll continue to communicate with Mr. Juan, to Commissioner Lopez, or Representative Lorica, if there is any, as you mentioned, the letter of support, let's put it out there as well.
Don, I know this won't affect Los Angeles County being the grant applicant, but if the possible merger of South Central to Southeastern, we lose our stack voice, I warn CDOT and Transportation Commission for future grant processes coming before us, if we lose that voice at the stack. I don't know how commissioners in the future will be as open as we are at this point to assisting CDOT. So just to put the back here, hat back there.
Lord, thank you, this is, it could be, once again, we go back to collaboration and partnering with one another for the citizens that go through the I-25, like public safety, so I think I'll let you translate exactly what he said, but he said a lot.
Thanks.
Very good. All right, anything else, Gabe?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, we're going to go into now section 6, public comment. Do we have any public comments to broadcast?
Yes.
Do we have anyone online that wishes to address the Board of County Commissioners this morning? 3 minutes for public comment. Hearing none, we don't have any, we don't have a public hearing, no unfinished business. We're going to go into section 9. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. Appreciate it. Section 9, new business, consideration of resolution 24-028 to increase Florida request fees. Mr. Boracay.
Commissioners, before you for your consideration is resolution 24028 regarding Cora fees. Give you ask Attorney Nelson to look into this. I believe this is the resolution she has in for us.
Let me, before we go into the resolution, just kind of statutorily, we have the authority and ability to implement some of the statutory charges when we get a court request. That's pretty much where this is coming from, right?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, if I may add,
Please.
Animas County is behind the times with the fees being collected at this time. The state maximum is where I believe we can be at. It's listed in the resolution today. We were way behind that. A lot of other counties and municipalities haven't been that low throughout the region. And I think this is the purpose of this today, to get us brought back into 2024 and for future commissioners, so they're not having to deal with this later on down the road.
Thank you, Commissioner Gaston. Read the resolution, Mr. Barrigan.
And one last comment, Commissioner, if I may. This fee collections isn't a revenue generating resource. So the fee collection is to cover staffs and Attorney Nelson's times when we have to do this type of research for these types of requests. So this isn't a revenue generating proposal, it's just to try to cover the staff's costs. Resolution.
And again, thank you so much for the clarification. I believe the CRS, Colorado Revised Statutes allows, and it is within exactly the guidelines of the, go ahead and proceed, sir.
Resolution of the Board of County Commission of Los Angeles County establishing charges regarding public records request. Resolution number 24-028. Whereas pursuant to CRS 2472-205, Grade 6, imprint custodian may impose fees in response to requests for public records. And whereas in 2014, the resolution 14-027 Los Angeles County established a policy regarding fees and charges for copy, research, and retrieval of public records. And whereas Colorado Revised Statute 2472-205, Grant 6, Grant allows the Director of Research of the Legislative Council to adjust the maximum hourly fee every 5 imprint years. On July 1, 2024, the Director increased the maximum hourly fee for the research and retrieval of public documents to $41.37. And whereas Los Angeles County desires that these policies regarding charges to be imposed on public records are requested. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, that 1. Los Angeles County hereby establishes the following policies relating to the copy of public records. A, custodians shall charge a fee of 25 cents per standard page for a copy of public record, or a fee not to exceed the actual cost of providing a copy, printout, or photograph of a public record in format other than the standard page. B, these fees shall apply except for the fee for a certified copy or other copy, printout, or photograph of a record is specifically prescribed by law. In such instances, the specific fee prescribed by law shall apply. 2, the person or entity requesting the public record shall pay all costs associated with the transmittal of any public record, except custodians shall not charge a transmission fee for public records transmitted via email. 3, if a specific request causes the custodian to manipulate data or results in computer output other than word processing, the custodian shall charge the fees and costs allowable under Colorado Revised Statute 2472-205, Grade 3 imprint and Grade 4 imprint. 4, custodian shall impose a fee of $41.37 per hour for the research and retrieval of public records by the custodian, regardless of whether the documents are to be transmitted off-site or inspected on-site. The research and retrieval fee shall be based on half-hour increments. However, custodians shall not impose a charge for the first hour of time spent in connection with the research and retrieval. 5, a previous Los Angeles County resolution regarding copy costs, research, and retrieval fees for public records are hereby repealed. A motion made and seconded from the vote, this resolution is adopted the 16th of August 2024 by order of the Board of County Commission of Los Angeles County, Colorado, followed by your signature.
Thank you, Mr. Barrigan. Commissioners, any comments, any dialogue? I'll entertain the motion.
Motion to approve resolution 24-028 to increase court request fees.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes. 9B, consideration of resolution 24-029, 029 from Animas. Mr. Barrington.
Resolution of Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County to opt out of required authorizations to operate ambulance service providers license on or after July 1, 2024. Resolution number 24-029, whereas pursuant to CRS 301110, Prin 1 imprint 3011-103, and 3011-107, Prin 1 imprint, the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, hereinafter the Board of County has the legislative authority to make all contracts and to settle all accounts of the county to exercise such other and further powers as conferred by law. And whereas the board has historically adopted and enforced rules and regulation governing the licensing of ambulance services in the county. And whereas Senate Bill 22-225, now partially codified in CRS 25-3.5-314, modified Colorado law, required the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, green CPG imprint, as of July 1, 2024, the primary would be the primary licensing authority for ambulance services in the state of Colorado. And whereas on or after July 1, 2024, pursuant to CRS 25, 3.5, 3 and 5, imprint, print A, imprint, print 3, imprint, county may enact an ordinance resolution requiring authorizations to operate for ambulance service providers despite licensure being handled by CPHE. And whereas the board this time does not desire to require any ambulance service provider to request an authorization to operate in Los Angeles County, and as such, ambulance service provider will only need to obtain a state license from CPHE to operate within Los Angeles County on or after July 1, 2024. And whereas the board desires to formalize its intent to opt out of participating in the issuance of authorizations to operate at this time, with an understanding that the board may choose at a later time to require such authorization pursuant to CRS 25, 3.5, 314, print 5 imprint, print B, imprint, print 3 imprint. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado. 1. The Board of County Commissioners, State of Colorado, has determined that it is in the best interest of the public to opt out of requiring ambulance service providers from requiring an authorization to operate in Los Angeles County, and pursuant to CRS 25, 3.5, 314, 5B3, Los Angeles County administrative staff or designees are authorized and appointed on behalf of the Board of County, on behalf of the board, to file any necessary paperwork with and/or in on whatever forms determined by CPHE, codified to notify CPHE of the board's decision to opt out at this time, and annually thereafter as needed. This board reconsiders the decision to opt out at a later time. 2. All orders, resolutions, bylaws, policies, or regulations of the county, or parts thereof inconsistent with this resolution are hereby repealed to the extent only in such inconsistencies. While motion made and seconded from the vote, this resolution is adopted the 6th day of August 2024 by the Board of County Commissioners, Los Angeles County, Colorado, followed by your signature.
Thank you, Mr. Barrington. You know, we're going to get tomorrow. Thank you so much. Commissioners, any conversation on this?
Yes, Chairman. 8 years ago, this was brought to my attention as a freshman commissioner, this issue with the licensing and how it worked for the ambulances throughout the state of Colorado. This has been on the forefront of county commissioners for many, many years, and until recently, when this Senate Bill 22-225 was initiated, it gave the authority to be taken out of the Los Angeles or in the county entity, putting in the CPHE, taking away somewhat local control. However, local control in this particular issue was not warranted by counties throughout the state. The responsibility of being in the medical field is not the purview of county government. So that's why this was developed and moved forward. We still do have an option with this to reenact it and opt back in on an annual basis. So commissioners in the future can be opting in and opting out. And then the local control factor is still in place with the local public health department identifying and licensing the ambulance district from the administrative side of the inspections of the vehicles and so forth. So there's still a local control. I will maintain on the Board of Health for years to come, as long as the board will have me. I'm not turned out on that. as a county commissioner. And we will really work with the ambulances and make sure that they are doing the proper, the best service, and have the best capabilities for our community members. However, moving forward with this, I'm wishing to move forward with this, and we still have the local control. We have an ambulance deputy chief to train in the room today, so I thought I owed it a little bit of explanation to you regarding our options here and what we were deciding to do. And that's why the local control will still stay in place. And if this is not something that the Trinidad Ambulance District works out with any other entity that comes in, you can approach the Board of County Commissioners at any time to opt back in of the local control factor from the LACC. So we wanted to clarify that for our audience members.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner Harris, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 24029 ground ambulance.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yes. 9C, consideration of second quarter public trustee report. Commissioners, we have this in front of us. Any questions? Pretty much standard document that we receive on a quarterly basis. Hearing no, none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the second quarter public trustee report.
Second the motion?
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yes. 9D, consideration of resolution 24030, appointment to Las Animas Workforce District Health Board. Mr. Governor Camp, please read that resolution.
Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, appointing a representative of Los Angeles County, Los Angeles, Walker County's District Health Department Board of Directors. Resolution number 240-030. Whereas Los Angeles County Cooperation with Walker County jointly created the Los Angeles, Walker County's District Health Department for the purpose of delivering public health services to citizens in the Lake County District. And whereas Public Health Improvement Act of Colorado requires that the District Health Departments be comprised of persons appointed by the designated appointing authority, the respective boards of the county commissioners of the counties comprised of the District Health Department and such District Health Board is charged with responsibility of setting policy-making decisions and ensuring the delivery of essential public health services within the district. And whereas Commissioner Tony has been designated as the appointing authority for Los Angeles County for the vacancies on the District Health Board, following consultation with his fellow county commissioners to consider persons who are selected to serve on the District Health Board of Directors. And whereas one vacancy exists on Los Angeles, Walker County District Health Board, now therefore be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, that the Board of County Commissioners hereby endorses the recommendation of Commissioner Tony House as appointing authority for Los Angeles County, the appointment of Ronald Rowe, with the term to extend from the date of this appointment until August 2025. A motion made to second affirmative vote, this resolution is adopted the 6th day of August 2024. Order the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, followed by your signature.
Thank you, Mr. Governor Camp. Commissioners, any questions, comments?
Just a comment, Chairman, I believe the appointment time is 2025, they're traditionally a 4-year term, but it was to follow the completion of our former president who passed away, of course. So that's why the term is only to 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner Tony Harris, for serving on that part of the selection committee. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 24030 appointing to Los Angeles Workforce District Health District Board.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yes, thank you. This is Tom Christie, the next one coming up, right? 9E, consideration of liquor license renewal for, I should have had you read this, Confederación Mutualista Mexicano e Hispanoamericana. I just have to go through all of this.
That is why I refused from being chair anymore. I think your first meeting, I had that. In the commission.
It is pretty lengthy name, so My first question, council, any questions from the perspective?
I reviewed the application, it is complete.
And on that perspective, I see our clerk's office also saying it's a complete application. Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, any questions?
One comment. Dr. Archuleta had a tough time making that statement earlier. He watched me. I hope I can put you.
I have a question, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion.
The approval of the last approval for the configuration of mutualist Mexican use of American. No laughing back there.
Well, in the spirit of the motion, segundo.
Thank you.
Second motion.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
See,
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes.
That was funny.
Lopez, Lopez, and Lopez.
Lopez.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the candor. 9F, consideration of 24R004 Colorado, one additional asphalt, 30.1. Mr. Berrigan.
Commissioner, before you for your consideration is 24R004, change order 1, to increase the emulsion and asphalt being placed on County Road 30.1. We're going from the original bid was 6,453 tons to 8,260 tons of asphalt to be placed. Original amount for that phase, $811,464.75, revised is $1,038,695. On the emulsion side, we're going from 646 gallons to 1,652 gallons. Original amount to be paid with contract, $5,168, revised amount $15,260. This brings our total project from the $816,632.75 to $1,051,911. We have $1,050,000 budgeted for this project, so that's going to approve this change.
So we have $1,900 in addition to that are completely budgeted for service.
This we went it over, with reason that is, we want to make sure that we get all the asphalt down we can, because it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah, thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions on this particular item?
Just make sure, Finance Director Cobley says we have the funds for it.
We got the funds for sure.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 24R004 CO1 additional asphalt.
second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Felix.
Yes. Thank you. 9G, consideration of paycheck services termination letter. Finance Director Cobley or Mr. Berrigan?
Commissioners, we entered into a contract agreement with Paychex a few years back to provide some consultation when it came to our blank, it's not a personnel officer handbook. And then also when it came to assisting us with developing updated job descriptions and job postings, etc. We reached a point, I believe, and I'll ask staff to chime in here, please, that we've reached a point now where we can terminate those services that we had Paychex assist us with to get us to this point. And Article 10 within our agreement with Paychex discusses that there needs to be the determination, except otherwise is provided the party determines this agreement upon 3 days. Written notice, and that's what this notice is. It's just written notice to Paychex to terminate our agreement. And ours only DHS will continue to use their services. cars be in the general fund, excuse me.
One question I do have, in the event that you need to get a technical support, will you still have access to, or is the software being abandoned as far as, just walk us through that process?
If we need assistance in the other past, we have been looking to CTSI, Technical Services, they provide HR services now, so we're doing
Very good. Thank you. Any questions, additional questions for Mr.
Just one for Councilor Nelson, are there any issues with this format and following our procedure?
The letter complies with the contract.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve agent services termination.
Second the motion?
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Peters Lopez?
Yes. 9H, consideration of permit application and report of changes for Buckhorn Ridge Outfitters, LLC, DBA Monument Lake Resort. Council?
I've also reviewed this application. It is complete. I have no concerns.
Thank you. And I think the same concept, with the green light from Clerk's office. Thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions on this application? I know there was initially one of the dates that was removed. Any questions? I do believe we have a representative from the entity online. Should there be any questions? But since this is a complete document, I will throw to either one of those.
Chairman, if I may, I know we had a couple issues with the state of Colorado, but I believe those have all been resolved through the clerk of the recorder's office and the applicant, and the legal counsel has given the green light for this. I want to also give a thank you to Mr. McGraw for this property that he's really took under his wing over the last few years. The lake itself and the resort has really come up to wonderful standards. If you haven't visited there lately, I encourage people to do so. And for this particular event, which is the Caveman Festival, I'm going to been talking with Roger from the clerk's office that this would probably be, and also Carrie, our clerk recorder, that this would be the last necessary means for this application to move forward for years to come. They should get this into compliance. Is that correct, Audrey? Okay. And then they won't have to come before us just on an annual basis once a year for the entire licensing of property instead of an annual special events type scenario. So this should clear all that up. And if there's any comments from Mr. McGraw, we can encourage them at this time.
I'm good.
Thanks, sir. With that said, Chairman, I would make the motion to approve reports and changes for Buckhorn Ridge Outfitters LLC to be a Monument Lake Resort.
Second motion. Commissioner Hess? Yes. Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Peters Lopez?
Yes. 9I, consideration of FAA EIL Periscope Terminal Grant Application. Mr. Burlington.
Commissioners, this was brought to our attention through the bill law that was passed sometime back at the federal level that airport terminal and tower projects were eligible for some set-aside funding. Our consultants brought this to our attention, and so we applied for some funding, $555. And I'd ask the board to approve this, also with the allowance that we signed for the applicant, because we had a deadline of last week sometime. It was, let's see, July 30th or 29th. I'm not sure how many that was. But it's to try and upgrade our terminal, if we can find an upgrade our terminal for new wiring and upgrade conference rooms, perhaps change out the windows, put in more energy efficient windows in an HVAC system, in if they let us even stretch it such, perhaps we can upgrade our septic system, which we're in the process of needing to do. In fact, we've got an RFQ out for consultant services and engineering services for that task as we speak. And we'll do next week.
Thank you. So, Mr. Barricano, is the match that is requested 5.5%?
Which I believe it is. I believe Steve Ira is 5.5, county 5.5, the feds there, now it's 90%, and that's correct. I think some of that, I don't think some of that went down in Ohio, if I recall the words correctly.
I'll take Commissioner Luis Lopez's question to Finance Director. Do we have a match or you, Mr. Barricano, the budget allocated for this grant?
We didn't budget for this year, so I'm not too sure what it is, but I'm sure capital will probably transfer funds to the airport if it's needed.
Very good. Commissioners, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the FAA-BIL Bristol's total impact application.
Second motion?
Mr. Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Haas? Mr. Weeks?
Yes. 9J, consideration of liquor license renewal for Pittman Adventures LLC DBA Spanish Peaks Bar and Grill. This question to council.
I've reviewed the application, it's complete, no concerns.
Thank you, ma'am. And I know our clerk as well. Commissioners, any additional questions on this particular application?
Just to comment, Chairman, as well, a lot of our applicants and our liquor applicants today, just to thank you to all of them for being small business in our county. It's tough being in business, and we appreciate them so much. The Spanish Peaks Inn is another great entity for my district in Gulf area, and we'd like to thank the family for being there. With that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license from Pittman Adventures LLC, DBA Spanish Peaks Bar and Grill.
Second motion, sorry.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes. Clerk has been busy with all of these applications. 9K, consideration of the application of report of changes for the Santa Fe Tavern LLC council. Any questions, any concerns on this application?
I reviewed this application, it's complete, no concerns.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you so much, commissioners.
Just for the record, the public listening in, this is a new license that hasn't opened yet, but in the application it is expanding their boundaries to the backyard, which I had visited the site before coming to the meeting this morning, and it is all completely fenced in, and I believe it followed all of the building inspections moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Hearing no other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the permit application and report of changes for the Santa Fe Tavern LLC.
Second motion?
Mr. Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Weeks?
Yes, well, this concludes that section, and thank you, Madam Council and the clerk's office for all the work that you do and all the research that has to go into this. So now we're going to move to section 10, financial matters. Consideration of payroll and bills for the first half of July 2024. Finance Director Corbin.
Payroll as of July 15, 2024 is $222,191.31. Do you have any questions on payroll?
Any more questions?
Invoices bills were paid on July 3rd, 2024, $167,785.25. I didn't find anything to bring to your attention unless I missed something. If you have any questions, any invoices that were paid?
I didn't have any commissioners any questions. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 10A.
Motion to approve payroll bills for the first half of July 2024.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez.
Yes, 10B, consideration of payroll and bills. See, you changed the language in here, it was bills and payroll. For
I
the
changed
same,
it, Commissioner, because payroll is always first and
There we go.
last and bills are second.
we
It's
paid
one
for
of
that,
my,
but see, I memorized this thing.
it's one of my OCDs. Forgive me.
Consideration of payroll and bills for the second half of July 2024. Back to you.
Okay. Payroll as of July 31st, 2024 is $223,408.16. Any questions on payroll? Okay. So we have two sets of invoices that were paid. One was paid on July 17th, 2024 for $660,521.76. Within this packet, we have paid for the HVAC project that is continuing still for $486,400. Is there anything that I missed that you have any questions on for these invoices? No? Okay. Invoices that were paid on July 30th, 2024 was $50,463.53. Any questions that you have on this packet?
Commissioners, any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 10B.
Move to approve payroll and bills for the second half of July 2024.
Second motion.
Commissioner Luis Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez.
Yes, and the next item at 10C, information only, financials as of June 2024. Back to you, Finance Director.
This is our financials mid-year. We've scheduled mid-year budget review with each department on the 22nd of August. But these are the financials. You can see general fund is still deficit, but our project going on, funding coming in, I'm going to continue to watch that. We'll have a lot of deficit. Road and Bridge actually has a deficit of $422,000. I haven't transferred any of the funding from Hill yet to him. That's that portion of it. Airport, $120,000 in the deficit. Yeah, that's because I'm saying some of it was the brownfield that hasn't come in yet, money. There's a few things with that, but you already know what the airport does. Usually end with a deficit unless we transfer money. It's contingent. It has a surplus of $50,285.17. Capital expenditure has a surplus of $262,459. Lottery has a surplus of $23,970. Appeal funds, surplus of $687,000. They have not transferred, I think it's whatever, I can't remember what they have, is it $1 million to Road and Bridge? Probably, yeah. And then LACC, surplus of $948.
Less than $1,100. 1900. Anyway. He is paying attention, so go ahead.
And jail improvement, I have not transferred the money, the $100,000 that I normally do to jail, so that's a deficit of $21,000. So, but we'll continue to keep watching to see what happens for the year. But we will come forward with each department to discuss their budget. Which that kind of leads into our new budget for 2025. It's just as it goes. Okay. Any questions?
Well, I looked at thank you so much for doing all of the balance sheets for each one of them specifically. So a couple of questions that are highlighted here for me on the airport. Once we transfer the management of operations, we have a couple of things in there, the fuel, supplies and so on. We budgeted, to get to that, just slightly over $200,000 in there. I'm interested in looking forward to see how we're going to continue to line item those so far expenditures into the future.
Right, because we're still obligated, I think, through FAA to match, I think, 5% of any project that we're going to continue. And I think we worked on the CIP just recently on the future for the airport. So capital expenditure will probably support that for the airport. And anything else, I think that we'll have to cover besides insurance every year. We'll have to make sure we cover that portion of it.
And just another very small question. When when the LEAF dollars, law enforcement, $5,000 grant, or dollars that we receive as a county that was probably back to the sheriff's office. I was looking for the formula yesterday. How is that calculated? I would imagine it's based upon how counties work with the state. But, you know, the amount is so small, just like over $5,000 that we receive. I wonder what we would need to do to increase and get more revenue from that. Probably a conversation for Sheriff Conrad.
Yeah, him and Melinda handle most of the grants out there. Yeah. So I don't know.
But I appreciate that this information only certainly really puts the whole county into perspective. Any other questions for Finance Director? If not, we're going to go to section 11. Thank you so much for that report. The board will be in executive session under CRS 24-6402 for being confirmed with the county attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions. A, courthouse office hours of operation. B, CDOT grant. C, courthouse HVAC. D, Valdez property. E, unions. F, CRS 1812-105.3 and other relevant statutes. G, ECMC, and H, Southeast Recycling. So at this time, I'm going to have, I'll entertain two motions. One to suspend this,
So did you say CRS?
the second CRS.
Excuse me, the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. CRS 246402 for E, determining the position relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. A, Terry Stokes Airport. Thank you, Mr. Bronigan, for bringing that up. So one motion to suspend the Board of County Commissioners and enter into the executive session with small business.
Second the motion?
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess? Yes. Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes. 10 minutes.